Your bank, Midwest Bank.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, it's Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, going through all the way up until 11 o'clock before we start handing things off to Ben Droz for the Daily Nebraskan. But nonetheless, this is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington, the host, as always, brought to you by the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. So again, always want to shout out our partner and Allo for always giving us those secure connections, because it kind of matters in a business like this. So of course, always shout out Allo. And if you guys want to join in, we're on the FM airwaves. We had Royals, but that was way before that game's wrapped up. 402-464-5685. So we're on the FM airwaves in the streaming platforms, as always, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, Channel 961. If you guys ever want to put a face to the voice, or in this case, to the graphic and one face, those streams are the way to do so. But Chancellor Brewington, how is it going on another rainy Wednesday night, man?
Yeah, it is raining, which is crazy. I went out to the lake today and it was raining. That a little bummer, but yeah, it's going good. It is going good. I think, update on the Heat game, I think it's the Boston Celtics look like they putting the series away.
Yeah, for everyone out there listening, it is, what is the score here? 30-point deficit, 46-76. Were you ever in one of those camps? Did you think the Heat were going to be able to come back and pull this off? I let myself flirt with the idea a little bit, but at the end of the day, I was like, there's just no way the Celtics find another way to ruin what is an opportune year to try to make it to the finals.
Yeah, no way the Heat gets that done without Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty tough. But to start the show off, I would always start off with some type of encouragement. Harrison, you got to be thinking of one, because I'm going to you right next.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, but I would just say there's definitely a season. I'll say this. There's a season that everyone has to go through in life. There's seasons to sow, and there's seasons for harvest. And that just simply means there's seasons of preparation. There's seasons where it's your time to shine, but there's always seasons in life. And if you're in kind of those seasons where it don't feel right, and, you feel like nothing's going your way, and you feel like, even depressed, even things like that. I just want to encourage you and say, not only is that normal, but it's necessary for your development for the next season that you enter into. So I would just say stay strong, stay encouraged, get around people that encourage you, get around people that fill you up, get away from people that tear you down and take from you. Let the fullness of that season manifest so you can become the greatest version of yourself. And yeah.
That's powerful. Yeah, man. That's a tough one to beat in terms of wisdom. Put me on the spot here. Yeah, I guess, when it comes to that stuff, it is hard. How do you know? I'll kind of follow up on it before I give mine. For you personally, how do you know when it is your time to shine? When it is like, okay, the things are lining up. It's time for me to go do whatever I've been working on for these months and stop, having this, I don't want to say an approach where you're going through it, but the light clicks on where you're ready to go on and take on that opportunity. Whatever you've been stressing about for months at a time, how do you flip that switch when it's time to all right, I'm going to pull myself out of this. I've done the preparation, the mind work, and I'm just in a better place now. When does that click in? And is it just something you feel, or what's that like?
Yeah, I'm not, it's tough because I'm not sure because I'm just not old enough. I wish I had about 20 more years under my belt, and I could just give the most intellectual, well thought out answer. But from my experience, I would say the mini seasons of feeling like feeling like, man, I can't lose. I would just say it usually comes after a season where it's like, what did I just go through? Like, it's usually after a season where it's like, life is rough right now. And you're trying not to allude to this, but life sucks. Like, when life sucks and things are just hitting you after haymaker after haymaker, right hook after right hook, you're just getting beaten down with the world or just things of the world, different stresses. You feel like there's a bunch of pressure on you. Then all of a sudden there's a breakthrough moment, and then you almost get thrusted into it, and it happens so quick sometimes that you can't even realize what's going on in the moment. You have to there's always that moment, when you're hot, when you're on, that you look back and oh, I was just tripping a couple of weeks ago. I don't even remember that really, but yeah, I think that's what it feels like. It's super draining. It's super, I would say, kind of lonely unless you have someone to go through it with. But it's super personal and intimate, and that's where it needs to be. Though is very, very, it needs to hit home so it can get your full attention, of course.
Yeah, I like what you said there, and it happens quick when things start turning around. And I guess my wisdom, I'll just kind of follow up on my own experiences with what you're talking about. For anyone who knows me, I'm a small town kid, Hartington, Nebraska, 1,600 town population, came down 2 years SEC. Then I transferred over to UNL just to help save myself some cash. And man, I was doing a lot of blue collar jobs. We worked at a grocery store for a little bit. That was miserable. And then I started doing a lot of maintenance while going to school for journalism. So stars weren't aligning. Typically you're on some sort of program to help you out, set you up for journalism. And I was painting walls and doing drywall, and nothing was clicking for me. And then all of a sudden I get this internship, and today I'm sitting in this beautiful job, which feels like in a blink of an eye, where everything's starting to click, and where I go from DeMorney Pierce-Snell to Chancellor Brewington to guys like Nuri. And I'm just lucky to be in this position. And to everybody listening out there, 402-464-5685, I never take it for granted. There's a lot of people that love to have this job. And the fact that it happened, in just a matter of, it was a lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong. Just unpaid internship for, I think, up to a year. And that's just part of radio, right? It's not one of those businesses where they're pulling in, they can pay everybody who works their 6-figure deals. It just doesn't work that way. But man, it happens so quick. And to sit in this beautiful studio that DP and company and Rebecca Pearson have set up, and to see the listening fan base grow and grow and grow, and just to get to meet a lot of these cool people that, it's to a point where I'm not even starstruck anymore, even though I should be, but I'm just getting used to it. And it's things I never want to take for granted. And it was brutal doing that blue collar stuff, mainly because that's not what I wanted to do. And I got respect for everybody out there in the world. But yeah, just to flash forward to where I am now, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, I would have doubted it 100%. I would have been like, there's no way that a lot of that's even possible. So the fact that, like you said, it happens way quicker than you think, where you just get in that better spot, you just got to go through it. And I don't want to use the words I was depressed, because that's a strong word. And I don't feel like I was really in that spot. I don't want to take anybody away who really is going through that stuff emotionally. I don't think it's my place because I just don't think I was quite that low. But there's definitely days where anybody who's a painter knows when you paint 5 apartments that all look the same gray color, that stuff wears on you a little bit. Even though it's a service that's needed, it wasn't for me. So yeah, I'm super grateful. And that process that you're talking about, man, it's real and it's brutal at times, but you just got to get through it. I mean, that's my wisdom for the day. And I'm just really grateful for it. So I'll never.
Let me ask you this. So when you were doing all like these jobs and stuff, did it ever get to a point, or looking back in hindsight, looking back now, can you tell like all the times like you were like getting prepared for it, like you were like growing in certain areas? Like, can you realize it now?
Yeah, 100%. Like what I learned the most is like hard work just pays off. You know, whether even if it's a job that you don't care about, if it's the Hy-Vee was the best learning experience for me, right? Like I hated it. I just needed the cash. I got down here in Lincoln at my grocery store. I know they'll hire me, right? I'm not some hooligan. I can figure out how to run a register and rotate shelves. Not a hard job to do, but again, it's a service. Never want to talk down to people who do it. There's a reason why you got Hy-Vee stores paying you like $15-$18 an hour now because it's needed. But just doing that and then the maintenance, you just got to trust in like that hard work that you put in. It's going to give you some friction, and out of that friction, you're going to learn a lot out of it. I just think there's so many times where we create problems because we don't have real problems in front of us. So we go on social media and we start talking about things that aren't even affecting us. And it's taking up all our mental energy to defend something that is completely remote from your situation at all. And I just think being real with yourself, being in those tough work environments, not focusing so much on the outside noise and just about yourself, like you'll learn a lot in those moments of friction. And anytime you're going against it, it's hard, but you got to go in there headstrong and just kind of embrace that friction, knowing that there's going to be times where you're going to have doubts, but you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself. Maybe some of those doubts end up becoming true and you realize this isn't what I should be doing. And you follow that doubt and you like, there's just because it's a doubt doesn't mean it's wrong, but you're never going to know until you meet that friction head on. So that's how I'd say it's tough. It's brutal. I'm sure Brewington, in your experience, being the athlete you are in the places you've been, you got to meet that friction head on, or it's just going to go to the wayside, and all that negative is going to be for nothing. You can turn that negative into positive, but you gotta embrace it. I mean, that's kind of what I learned through a lot of getting to where I'm at now, and who knows what's in the future for me yet.
Yeah, I'm sure something great is in store. I mean, you're already doing it big, brother. I ain't gonna cap to you, but
appreciate it, Brewington. You too, man.
I'm sure something great is in store. But yeah, no, there's definitely a season, definitely a necessary process that you go through, and the longer you put it off, the longer it's gonna be until you reach that point where you finally walk into what you've been called to do. So, yeah. Damn, you got a really good story. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's a good story.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who does blue collar, man. It is it's changed your life. Tree service in particular. I always talk about that in my high school days. Oh my Lord. I mean, have you ever seen people doing line clearance where those power lines, you got the chainsaws cutting about 6 feet away from each other? I was the guy just running on the bottom, and you got to wear the hard hat, the long pants, the long shirts, even though it's 100 degrees out just for safety reasons.
Was you?
Oh, yeah. The most humbling experience I've ever had. I mean, I had people in my family thinking I bleached my hair because I was just out in the sun that much, just sweating, going through it. So if you're in the tree service business here in Lincoln or anywhere, you got incredible respect for me. Those guys are heroes after doing that for just a couple summers. I wasn't even year round doing the logging in the winter, just the line clearance in the summer. I mean, that to me is that taught me a lot. Brewington, since we're on the subject, what is the chapter in your life that was some friction that really changed you into who you are now?
I would definitely say I had a lot of surgeries during my college career, and one thing about surgeries is that I think like right before the surgery date, like you get this sense of like, oh, it's going to be all right. It's we're going to get through this, and then you get under the knife, they say, and then you come up out of off the anesthesia and all that stuff, and then you realize like this is going to be a 6-month process, or it's going to be a 7-month process, or for one of my surgeries, they said, I don't know if you're ever going to play again. So like, I would just say like during those times, it allowed me to change my pace in life. And I think that's honestly what we humans have such a problem with is when our pace doesn't align with where we think we should be at. Like when we think we should be running ahead the race, like we should be sprinting, but really we're just walking, or we're crawling, or we're moving at, or we're staying in the same space for like, months at a time, but really you're just walking at a really slow pace. And so I would say just during those times, during the surgery times, it allowed me to realign spiritually, realign emotionally, check in with myself, and really like mature in a lot of areas. I think every time I feel like God has sat me down in a place where it hasn't gone my way, or I'm walking at a really slow pace, He's really shown like what it is that I'm supposed to not only put all my energy towards, but what things need to leave to. And I think that's part of that season is there's things that need to leave, whether that's people, whether that's a way of thinking, whether that's some actions, some things you're doing, like there's things that need to leave. So I would just say during those times, the one thing that has gotten me through is a really good support system. And it's tough sometimes because sometimes people can't really be there for you in the way you want them to, because you don't really know what's going on. but yeah, I would just say support system. And obviously I'm not a religious individual, but just a relationship with your creator and knowing that like there's a plan that's for your life, and obviously this has to happen. I think that's the mindset to have, is this has to happen for me to manifest into the person I'm supposed to be. Like this is necessary. So every time I go through some hours in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is necessary for who I need to become. Let's attack this head on. Let's make sure we never quit during this trial. Let's make sure we persevere and our character gets developed. Like that's all I'm thinking about during that.
I like that, man. I'll ask your advice, since we'll spend this first segment on just the wisdom that we typically start out with, since we got about 5 minutes left here. And then I do want to dive into NFL and talk about some dark horse teams and kind of see if you got some different answers than DeMornay Pearsonell, the last former Husker we had on. But since we only got about 5 minutes left here, one of the biggest things that always gets in my way still today, I'm 24 years old. You mentioned it too. I think you're still 24 years old. If you guys got more wisdom and you're older and you want to tell us young kids to, got some better knowledge out there for us, feel free. 402-464-5685. The Brewers can always join in. Pride is always in there. Like we had Chip Baker on for one-on-one with DP, and he was talking about, you got to look yourself in the mirror sometimes. And again, talking about that friction, like it's going to be maybe it's uncomfortable because why you haven't been working as hard, or you haven't put the work in, at your job, but you still want the promotion. You want to, have a six pack or just feel better, live longer, but you're not going to work out. You're not hitting the gym or eating better. And you got to look in the mirror, and you got to let that pride go and stop blaming things around you and just kind of look yourself dead in the eyes and being like, you're the person controlling all of this. You got to look in the mirror yourself, right? How do you get through the pride moments? Because that's something that me, and I think most guys, just being real here, probably struggle with, is letting the pride just lead them into an even more negative path, and using pride to make up examples consistently.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think pride is something that it can look different for different people. I think for me, obviously, like being an athlete and stuff, like pride just looks a little different. It might be like this kind of will sound like crazy, but like if you walk in a room and you feel like you need to be acknowledged, that's prideful. If you walk in if someone doesn't give you the honor or the praise you think they should deserve, that you deserve. That's prideful. Thinking you're better than someone, comparing yourself all the time. You're always in a constant state of comparison. Like you're always, okay, well, I got a better car than him, or I got better shoes than him. Okay, like I think I have more money than him. Like that's pride. Like, so if we're always in a constant state of comparison, there should be an alarm going off in your head. Like, ooh, there's this pride bug I'm dealing with. And I think a lot of men don't deal with it because, first of all, it's a painful process.
Yeah.
It's an ego stripping process.
Tell me about it, man. You're talking right to my soul right now. It's brutal when you really look in the mirror.
Yeah, it's a process where it's like most men don't do it. I would say 90% of the men don't do it because it's such a strenuating process that actually takes a humble man. So you have to replace. There's something you have to replace the pride with because there would just be a void there, and our bodies are meant to have something needs to take the place. So instead of the pride, you put in humility, right? And so I think that walking in humility is much, much harder. It takes much, much effort, much, much more time than walking in pride. Walking in pride is easy. I can go outside and think I'm better than everyone, but walking in humility and looking at other people, maybe even in not a false humility way, but looking at other people like, hey, like there's certain things this individual does that is way better than me. And I think that's a tough place to get to. I'm trying to get there where I'm fully walking in all humility, where I'm just like walk in a room and nobody got to acknowledge me. Like you ain't got to even say what's up to me, bro. Like I'm so content and know who I am to the max that I like this pride bug. I don't even really have to. I walk with this can get a little spiritual. I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but I walk with a cross behind me daily. That I'm ready to how can I say this without saying it? I'll just say it. I'm ready to crucify my flesh daily. That's what this book called the Bible says. I'm not a religious person. It's just what the book says. But I'm ready to die daily, and I'm not trying to be morbid. But yeah.
I mean, it's important to kind of have that self-belief and that purpose. And nothing what you're saying is wrong. And it's just one of those tough things. And I think, social media today and how many distractions we can put in front of us. I mean, there's a new sick gaming system or game out, content, TV, movies. It's easy to get super distracted and sidetracked and start blaming the world around you. And you look at how much downtime you have in reality. That's always kind of where the wake-up calls for me. It's like, man, why am I expecting things when I got this much downtime and I'm just using this downtime for useless nonsense? And then I'm expecting the world to come back to me. So stuff like that, I think it's always important to remember. And it's good wisdom segments kind of open things up here with the former Husker tight end, Chancellor Brewington. Before we go to break, Brewington, I'll give you some time for thought here. I was talking to DeMornay Pearsonell, and we'll start it kind of the same way. Don't give me the answer yet. I'll let you think about it. But on the other side, Hard Knocks, it's always a great intro to the NFL season. Give me your team that you would love to see have the Hard Knocks crew at their practice field this upcoming NFL season. I got a few teams in mind, but I'm curious to see which ones are yours, because that Hard Knocks stuff is crazy. I mean, that camera crew is there all day, and they're covering just about every single angle of the team and what's going on inside. So give me the team that you would like to see a deep dive preseason Hard Knocks camp in the NFL. We'll throw it to break here. This is the former Husker Chancellor Brewington on the Allo VIP line. Harrison Arns back at the 1040 Ticket Studios on another rainy Wednesday night. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep things rolling here. I'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
High schoolers, unleash your creativity and learn about potential careers in broadcasting at the Digital Expressions Media Camp. Have fun, make friends, and get hands-on experience with video and radio production June 9th through the 14th at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. Scholarships are available from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, and spots are limited. Learn more at digitalexpressionscamp.com. That's digitalexpressionscamp.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Gary with Gary Michaels Clothiers Lincoln. I'm here to tell you about our custom shirt program. When you come into the store, we measure your chest, mid-waist, and sleeve length. Enter the measurements in an app, and we create your data fit size. You then try on one of our 99 data fit shirts for the proper fit. After that, pick out the fabric, collar, cuff, placket, and in roughly 2 weeks, your shirts are delivered at the same cost of buying off the rack. And by the way, the neck fits too. Gary Michaels Custom Shirts at 56th and Pine Lake Road, Lincoln.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter. Every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Old School with DP and J.
Very small percentage of players, coaches, administrators thinking like, I'm planting my flag here. Nick Saban's run probably won't happen. It takes a very unique person and personality to be comfortable where you are, be strong enough to push to get what you need, and then also be very strong enough in a player's standpoint to advocate for yourself at the right time.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. You're listening to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. The host is always on the Outlook VIP line where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. Chancellor Brewington, before we got to the break, and you guys are always welcome to join in as well, 402-464-5685. I asked you to give me the team you would be most intrigued to go see the Hard Knocks TV crew pull up on scene and give us a deep dive on their preseason practices. Which NFL team to you is most intriguing, where you'd want to see that inside coverage with the Hard Knocks crew?
Yeah, I think, me personally, I would love to see the Texans. I think that would be a good one. A young C.J. Stroud. Mm-hmm. You got a veteran Stephon Diggs over there paired with a Tank Dale. I'm forgetting one more receiver. Help me out.
Did you say Diggs already?
I said Diggs. I thought they
Collins,
had one
Nico
more
Collins is pretty good. I mean, he really popped out last year.
Okay. Yeah, Nico Collins. Yeah, and then the running back. I think they got Joe Mixon.
Yep, Joe Mixon out of Cincinnati.
Joe Mixon. That would just be a squad to play with. Obviously to play with, but and also Dalton Schultz as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's a dog.
Damian Pierce too. Offense, he was pretty good his first season. I'm still curious what the future looks like for a guy in Damian Pierce. Obviously bringing Joe Mixon in there, that's a little bit of running back room by committee, but having Damian Pierce on the roster too that you can plug in and play. I'm a big fan of Damian Pierce's game. So I think, his first year with the Texans, he was standout. So I'm curious to see what that looks like, especially, like you said, as that passing game continues to develop with CJ Stroud. Is probably the best rookie quarterback we've seen in a long time. And just going through here, let's figure out where the Texans landed. Pretty sure they almost even won their division. Since we're speaking on the Houston Tech, yeah, they did win it. I mean, being in the AFC South is just a layup for a team like that. They were finished last year 10-7. Jaguars behind them 9-8. Jaguars might be one for me just because I would be curious to see what does that dysfunction look like right now. I'm sure there's some serious questions. And then the Colts 9-8, and then the Tennessee Titans 6-11. I mean, is there a world where the Houston Texans don't close out their division next year? The only way I see it is if CJ Stroud gets hurt, but it looked like another layup for them to go ahead and secure the AFC South.
Yeah, I think the Texans is a good team. Who else do you think? Who else did Demournay serve?
Demournay gave some interesting ones. The one that is not so much of a dark horse pick, but the New York Jets. Obviously, Rodgers, I think you're 8 seconds into his NFL debut with the Jets, and he was out. And then the quarterback play really just destroyed that team. The defense was fine, but the offense, they just couldn't get anything going. And then he also had the Commanders in there. The Commanders are interesting. He was more on the coaching staff. But again, you're really hoping on the development of a guy like Marcus Mariota or even Jacoby Brissett in the quarterback room. And again, with the coaches in place, maybe you're optimistic that a guy like Marcus Mariota figures it out down there. But yeah, the Commanders were the sneaky one that he surprised me with, wanting to get a deep dive. Me, selfishly, obviously the Chicago Bears. I just want to see what they're cooking up there in Chicago. But what do you think about that? The Commanders or even a team like the New York Jets, a deep dive on those guys as maybe even some of these dark horse candidates to make a Super Bowl run.
Oh, the Jets. I like that one. I think the Bears will be an awesome one. I mean, everyone's going to want to see what Caleb Williams' rookie year is like.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the controversy. I saw like Jalen Johnson said a little tweet or says in an interview that he don't want no quarterback. I couldn't remember if he said his nails painted or he said something where he just want to make sure they all about winning and kind of took a shot, and then I guess they cleared it up. But even that offense, I mean, it's a star-studded offense with Keenan Allen. You got Caleb Williams.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. You got Gerald Everett, another backup tight end. They got some guys. They got some serious depth this year, which is different. I mean, Poles is finally spending money. That's the difference with the Chicago Bears. You got a GM who's down to spend a few dollars to make sure he gets players in place, which, you know, if you're a big Justin Fields fan, that's understandably part of the frustration because you wonder why they didn't do it with Justin Fields. But it's definitely happening with Caleb Williams, Poles. Eberflus, how confident are you in Eberflus for the Chicago Bears? I would thought he was a guy they were going to let go. The team did rally around him late in the season. I'm still a little surprised they kept him around. Is Eberflus going to be the thing that keeps the Bears from reaching that next level that's really just getting to the playoffs at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll obviously just be dependent on Caleb Williams' play. I think that would be the main factor. I mean, obviously, I think defense will play in a top 10 clip in the defense ratings, like categories.
Yeah, number one rushing defense last year, the Chicago Bears.
Right. And so I think it's going to be a thing where Caleb Williams is going to have to really just take a step, and there's going to be growing pains, of course, or we see the best rookie of all time. I have no idea, but yeah, I think it would be interesting. You know what other team would be cool? With 49ers. That'd be a good one.
Oh yeah, 40. The
I
problem
think
is
seeing Brock Purdy a little bit more.
where are you at with Brock Purdy? I don't think we've even ever had this discussion, because I think Brock Purdy is one of those guys that weirdly gets hated on more for no reason whatsoever. Like, people get mad at him for not putting up insane numbers, and he still puts up really good numbers. And I'm like, why would being a game manager be a bad thing in his scenario? Like, why is his goal to prove the doubters wrong, to take the ball out of the hands of his best playmakers on offense? Like, that's exactly what he needs to be, is a game manager, and he's doing it well. So that's why with the comments, like with Cam Newton back there, like kind of they're not game changers. Well, you don't necessarily want a game changer. You just want a guy that's going to follow the damn game plan, because that roster is loaded. So where are you at with Brock Purdy? I'm pretty adamant on how I feel about it, because I've just hated how the media, let's be honest, most of them are probably troll accounts, just hating on Brock Purdy, but hate on him. But I feel like it's been a weird guy where, despite, being a late draft pick, kind of this hero come up story, the NFL fan base has not necessarily wrapped their arms around him welcomely, and they keep waiting to point out a reason why he is not the guy, the next quote unquote guy. Where are you at with Brock Purdy?
Yeah, I think it's a thing where people hate him because they probably haven't seen a guy like that in a while. A guy that just flies under the radar, just really does his job, and his team is playing at a really high clip consistently, and he makes all the good throws. Like, it's never like a thing where he's gonna roll out the pocket and juke three guys out, and then run over a guy, stiff arm a guy, and then break a 70-yard run, or throw a ball no look across for 50 yards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not that type of guy, but he's so consistent, and I feel like every stop, because I've played against him in high school. I feel like every stop, like from high school, college to pros, like he's always had that level of like naysayers, which is awesome. I think it's awesome. I think that means he's just doing something great. But he's always had that, looking back in hindsight, and then seeing like the level he's playing at, and the attention he's getting globally is awesome. And I think he's just such a mature individual that he can handle those type of things.
Is that a Super Bowl favorite for you heading into next season? There's not a lot of reasons why you think why they can't repeat, unless you think there's some chemistry problems. But again, they're in a NFC West sitting with the Los Angeles Rams, which are probably not. They're a good team, not the greatest team out there. I was going to be really curious what they look like this year. But then you go down to the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals obviously being the least scary out of that group. But with the San Francisco 49ers, way too early predictions. Is that a team that's en route to make another Super Bowl appearance?
Yeah, I think they might. I mean, obviously, Brandon Ayuk is out, and he was a pivotal playmaker and did so many things in the run game, blocking downfield, and really was like a tone setter in the perimeter blocking. But I think it comes down to how healthy can Kittle stay healthy. Can the O-line protect? Because that was a big problem in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Can McCaffrey stay healthy? Because he's going to have to be a workhorse. And can there be another option on the outside that can get open on third downs? Can be a stretcher of the defense, a vertical threat. Because I mean, Ayuk provided so many things for that offense. Like, I don't think people realize, like, he was not only a great pass catcher, he could run every route on the route tree. He had speed. He could stretch the field. He was very good in the run game. Able to set edges, able to establish a really good perimeter blocking. So I mean, I don't really know what they did in the offseason, like free agent wise, but it'd be very curious to see how the 49ers offense holds up coming up.
Yeah, they didn't make a whole lot of ton of moves in the and like, why would you? That's a team that's pretty good already. You just fell a little bit short But again, you look at it in the teams that they're going to have to go through likely, again, I mean, who knows if DeMornay's picking out as the Commanders as a possible dark horse because he sees some magic production in the quarterback room, which again, with the coaches in place, maybe that does happen. But it looks like they're going to have to go through the Cowboys, Eagles, maybe the Lions, if they continue to build up with Dan Campbell. But it just looks like another year where the NFC is going to be dominated by the San Francisco 49ers. Do you see Detroit Lions, Cowboys, Eagles, those three teams right there? How do you like their odds to try to maybe break through this year? Because the Eagles, I think, probably had the most disappointing loss because you went from the Super Bowl losing to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You start to get this belief early in the season that this team's going to go far. They lose a majority of their games towards the end of the season, and the wheels fall off completely. The Cowboys have been on this perpetual treadmill where they're always good but never breaking through, and the Detroit Lions have been making steps, but obviously the hardest wall to break through is, can you make the Super Bowl, and then on top of that, win the Super Bowl? Give me a quick synopsis. Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. Out of those three teams, which is the team that's going to make that next step? And if you're still on train with the 49ers, does that team have a good shot to win the NFC, get to the Super Bowl, and take down the 49ers in these way too early Super Bowl playoff predictions?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Eagles, I could see them bouncing back. I could see them bouncing back. They started off so hot last year. It just hit a stage where they were turning the ball over a lot of fumbles, a lot of interceptions. So that could really happen. The Cowboys, it's always this 8-9 year, or this 9-7 year.
It's like 12 wins max typically. Like you said, it's like 9 to 12 wins year in, year out. Clock in, clock out.
Yeah, but I think, and I've heard a conspiracy theory on this, is that you gain the most fans by staying really close to like breaking through, but never doing it. So I heard that people say that the Cowboys stay between like the 7 and 10 win clip because they want to keep the fans so engaged and keep their hopes so high that they're about to break through, but they never do. And so it keeps their fans super, how should I say, encouraged. And it actually grows their fan base. That was a conspiracy theory I heard. But
maybe that's what LeBron's doing to you. You ever think about that one? He brings you to the finals year in, year out, just keeps you hanging on by a thread that this is the year, and then you get a taste of reality. First round exit to the Nuggets. Sorry, I had to bring that one up in there.
That is crazy.
How I feel about LeBron James. Well, who knows? Who knows where he ends up? He's a Laker right now, but again, we talked about it last night. Likely from Windhorst be unrestricted free agent for the first time since 2018. That's big news around LeBron James. Where does he possibly end up? But yeah, I'm with you on the Eagles because I think you go through the draft and you have to reassess all these teams because there's so many pieces move. Saquon Barkley's in that backfield with Jalen Hurts. The brotherly shove, the tush push, whatever you want to call it, that's only going to be more effective, I imagine, when you got that group back there. And Saquon Barkley adds a development. It's where that team really struggled despite having the quote-unquote best offensive line year in, year out in the NFL. They were never breaking off big explosive runs. And maybe that's by scheme, and you can blame the coaching on pretty simplistic run offenses in terms of sets, style, how many times and which situations they do it. I think they were pretty predictable, which didn't help. But with that offensive line and Saquon Barkley, I'd be hard-pressed to believe these guys don't start breaking out more explosive runs. And I think that's where Jalen Hurts gets way too much slack. I think people are grilling this guy a lot, especially towards the end of the season. But he was expected to make every big moment play. Like there wasn't ever a time where their running game could just trail off a 30, even a 20-yard run. Like they really were dead last in terms of explosive runs. For having the best offensive line, that makes just little to no sense. So I think the coaching has got to take some accountability. But now you had Saquon Barkley. So you got to figure that out because that's one of the best parts of your offense at this point. So if you can't figure out a way to produce explosive runs, to me, that's not on the coaching staff. And I'm still a big believer in Jalen Hurts. I just think he gets asked to make every single big play for him, in particular last season. So I think that's a team to definitely keep an eye on. The Cowboys, just prove it to me. I'm so sick of the Cowboys. You guys got to prove it. Like, I can't figure out what it is when they get to the playoffs. They go from the most elite offense in the regular season to just combusting when they get to the playoffs. But with that said, we will cool off and we'll leave off as we're talking about kind of just some advice, as the Brewington, the host, always likes to open up these shows with a little bit of just good feeling mood, encouragement, motivation. We did have an unknown texter chime in, came in a little later, but it's a good way to wrap up this segment as I just went in on the Cowboys. So if we got Cowboys fans out there, maybe those will help them out, get them out of the rough times. But unknown texter chimes in. Again, we're kind of just talking about wisdom and how to get through some of the lows. He says, I'm only 37, but I wanted to share a personal philosophy. No one is better than another person at everything. In a one-on-one comparison, each will have strengths. If you think you're better than another at everything, that one thing they're better is probably humility. And that is a great quote right there. That one thing that they're better at is probably humility, to kind of close off that. And again, I appreciate when you texters chime in. I know me and Chancellor Brewington, we'll kind of go off the rails, talk a little bit just more, I don't want to say personal, but just everyday life stuff and getting through it. So always appreciate you guys joining in, and always feel free to do so. 402-464-5685. We got one more segment on the other side. We'll talk a little more NFL football, maybe the NBA if we got time. But then again, we have the Malone radio show, and that will go from 9 to 10 o'clock. And then followed by that, the Don't Athlete Project, and then the Daily Nebraskan. So live ticket weeknights content for you guys all the way up until midnight. Don't go anywhere. We'll throw it to break and talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Ironhide Construction is a Nebraska-based general contracting and steel construction firm. Their expert team is experienced in building innovative construction solutions across several industries. While they were previously known for their extensive experience in steel erection and metal buildings, they've continued to evolve over the last several years into a full-service general contracting firm. They take pride in their commitment to quality, cutting-edge technology, and having a passion for what they do. For more information about their services or to discuss an upcoming project, visit www.ironhideconstruction.com or call 402-420-4961. Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group are Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Community means something different to everyone. But for me, it means cheering on those around you during the good times and helping them out during the tough times. I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I've been blessed with the support of my friends, family, coaches, and community throughout my life. When looking for a bank to call home, it was easy to choose Midwest Bank. I never feel like just another customer, and they're proud to support their communities. They love what they do, and it shows. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of your liberty in pursuit of your justice for those that have been injured. My name is Matt Knight, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our relentless trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Mike Minner, what's up, bro?
When you look at Dylan, you're looking at quarterbacks that kind of come around once every 20 years. And this is a kid I'm looking at, I don't know how old he is, 17, 18 years old. And he is already directing things that 17, 18-year-old kids should not even know. Changing the line protection. Okay, guys, I don't know what we've been 2 weeks of practice. Come on, man. Well, we got guys in the National Football League that can't do that.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Power Combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
On the block with Strick and Austin.
Hey, he looked as advertised. He looked really good in the spring game. And because of that, we're going back to a bowl game this year, is what Husker fans are telling them. So I think the fans have a more realistic perspective, and I think this coaching staff has done a really good job of handling Dylan Raiola and the expectations around him.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington, the host, as always, on the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. We got a little bit of time left, but you guys are still welcome to join in, 402-464-5685, and you're welcome to join in through all of the shows tonight at that same number. Malone Radio Show after this one, to the Doan Athlete Project, to the Daily Nebraskan, hosted, as always, by producer Ben Droz. As we wrap things up here, we're talking NFL. And let's go through these QBs. And I want to talk about the QB that you think is going to have the biggest splash in terms of their rookie year debut. I'll even let you throw in a guy like Justin Fields, backup guys that really haven't gotten that opportunity. A most improved QB or the best rookie QB that you think is going to make an impact through this season. I'll let you go ahead and start, and if we got time left, I'll follow up. But of all the QBs who got drafted this year, and maybe guys that even got traded, like a guy like Justin Fields, to a different situation, which QB to you is a guy that we need to have our eyes on, that you think has potential? And a lot of it can be based on situation. That's certainly the case in a lot of NBA players, but I think quarterbacks as well, especially for the NFL. Which QB are you going to have your eye on?
I would say that's tough. Okay, so my options are limited. I could obviously go,
or you can even call it an 07 draft year and say I don't like any of them. That's the famous Raiders drafting Jamarcus Russell, considered one of the bigger busts in NFL history.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so the top three, obviously, you got Caleb Williams, you got Jaden Daniels, and you got Drake May. Mm-hmm. I think out of those three, I think Caleb Williams is the best and the most prepared and probably the most ready. But I mean, I think Michael Penix might be the he might be the sleeper, but I would say Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. is the hard one for me. I have no idea if this guy was, got slept on and should have been higher. I thought there was a chance he even gets picked as high as the number 3 quarterback. And I think that's probably why the Falcons took him. I think the Falcons saw a guy that they were maybe somewhat surprised to see there, or at least, halfway expecting it, had it in the cards that this guy might get picked up. I mean, how do you feel about him sitting behind Kirk Cousins for a little bit? I mean, Kirk Cousins is obviously going to be healthy by the time the season starts up for the most part. Who knows what he looks like? But I think he should have plenty enough time. How early that injury was to where we get to the start of the actual NFL season. Who knows what Michael Penix Jr. is looking in those preseason games. How do you see that working out between a guy who's guaranteed at least $100 million and a rookie quarterback who's gunning for his job? Because I know Kirk Cousins is a great guy, but he's competitive. Like, I trust him that he's going to give some help, but he's not going to just step out of the way and let Michael Penix Jr. take his job. Kirk Cousins, he came out about it. He's not upset with the Falcons for taking this route, but I'm hard pressed to believe that he's just going to move to the wayside. Kirk Cousins, for nice as guy as he is one of the most competitive QBs out there. How do you see this working out between the guy who's guaranteed $100 million and the rookie coming in to take his job?
Yeah, they're going to give it to the guy who's getting $100 million, but I'm sure. Okay, this might be a hot take. Okay, it doesn't seem like everyone in the Falcons organization is happy that Penix got took.
I agree.
So I could. Okay, this is a crazy take, but I could see. I could see maybe if Cousins wasn't ready, they thrust him into that role, and some people in the organization say, "See, this is why we shouldn't have drafted him," or I'm just making that up, and that's out of thin air. But I don't know. I think Kirk Cousins still has a lot of ball left in him. I think Kirk Cousins would be an awesome guy to learn under. I think he's super humble. I think he's super knowledgeable about the game and approaches the game the right way. And I think a rookie quarterback coming in under him would just be a dream setup, like learning the game for a year, getting the feel, the speed, the reads, the knowledge, the playbook down, and then maybe thrusting into a role like year 3, year 4, maybe. I think that's more realistic unless another injury happens, God forbid.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a disaster for the Falcons organization where, like you said, not everybody was on the same page in terms of staff, players, management, or it's going to be some sort of version of the Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes, where Mahomes is learning. It helps when you have a great coach, Andy Reid, in town, but it could be some situation of that where Michael Penix Jr. only looks better as a result, or this whole thing with the Falcons organization just turns into a bunch of bad feelings, put it lightly, where just people aren't clicking and don't have the same envision of what this team's going to look like within the next coming years. So that's a team for me. It's a dark horse team because the talent's there, but the quarterback situation is incredibly different than a lot of these other rookie QBs. So we're going to wrap it up here. Shout out to Chancellor Brewington on the Allo VIP line for joining me as always. Chancellor, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. And for everybody else listening out there, we got the Malone Radio Show up next from 9 to 10 p.m. And then we'll keep it rolling all the way till midnight. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.